We're going to talk about the Aldelo Express above store. I do catch myself from time to time calling it the back of house, and it's really, that's the old term. That is the term that we used during the Windows days. It's really above store because that's where it's at. It's not kept at the store level anymore. It is strictly in the cloud. So let's talk about the above store. And if I slip up and say back of house, just forgive me. It's just old habit. So let's start off with the hardware requirements. So what are the hardware requirements at the store? And there's none. No PC is required, and I underline required because it's really not necessary. All the processing is done in the cloud. All the heavy lifting is done in the cloud. All the reporting and generation of those reports, that's done in the cloud. So the heavy lifting and thinking is done on the cloud servers. That makes it easy to have a single tablet install. You don't have to have additional hardware. You can run an entire store off of a small handheld. We have food trucks that are running on small handheld devices now. The POS is, don't judge it by the physical size of the tablet or the terminal. Don't. It's the same software that runs on the iPad Pro runs on a small handheld. It's the same software. So it can run an entire operation on a single tablet. It'll fire the cash drawer, print all the printers, run the kitchen displays, all that from a small footprint. So don't judge the hardware. It's the software that runs the operation. Our databases are hosted at Amazon Web Services. It's very, very reliable, very secure. We just don't have problems there. We are running a SQL Server database. That is the best that you can get. And that is the one that allows us to continues to expand, continues to grow. That allows you as a salesperson or as a restaurant owner, unlimited number of items. Very fast reporting, and it's very secure. With Amazon, we do distribute the databases. That is, we have them on multiple server farms. For our security purposes, we don't disclose which farms or how many, but they are distributed to multiple different server farms so that there is no downtime. If there is an issue with one farm, the other server farms take over, and the restaurant never has the downtime. This is not common. A lot of our competition does not do this. It's the same thing with the PC. Some of our competition requires that a PC be installed in the network in order for it to be able to run at the local store level. So on this slide here, I've got two items that are not common. That in some situations a PC is required, and in other situations the databases are not distributed amongst multiple server farms. They're hosted in one location. And then we also don't have any hosting fees. These are not, that we have no fees that are passed to the end user. It's all included in our SaaS model. Our software runs on the cloud runs on any device. It doesn't matter what device you'd like to use. You simply type in the address, which is my.aldelo.express, and that gets you to the cloud back office. You can run this on a phone with no app. You don't need an app to run this on the phone. We made our web-based cloud software adaptable to whatever format you have on your screen, whatever size screen you have. Android or Apple, doesn't matter. It's going to adapt to that size of that phone and allow you the same flexibility, the same command controls, the same everything that you would have if you were on a tablet or a desktop or a laptop. It's all the same. In fact, if you haven't shown this on a phone, you really should, because it does format really well. Reports, everything. It is also not browser dependent. We don't care what browser you use. just use whatever device or whatever browser you're comfortable with, and it will operate. That leads into independence. We are not cloud dependent. That is a very important factor because our competition, some of our competition is cloud dependent, and they are so cloud dependent that they actually have websites that post their current status. And if they are having a problem, they're notifying and putting it on websites that say, we're having an issue right now and we are addressing that issue. So not only are they cloud dependent, their cloud has problems to the point that they have to have a website that explains it to their customers. I just blows my mind that they have that problem to that level. Now, since we're not cloud dependent, that means that if you do lose the internet, you're still going to print orders in the kitchen. KDSs are still going to display. Orders are still going to be processing. The terminals will continue to operate in a fairly normal fashion. Now, you do lose your ability to have cloud backup, meaning that during that time, the POS is not updating the cloud, so it will hold all its data until the cloud is restored, and then it will sync back up. You do lose the ability to have credit card processing if the cloud's not there. So what we do is we recommend that you have a cell-enabled device somewhere in the network. If you have a cell phone router, or if you're using a cell phone hotspot, for instance. I ran last week at a trade show all week on my cell phone. We were totally up 100% of the time using my cell phone as a backup. But you can have a cell phone enabled Android or Apple product. You can have a cell enabled router, and this will continue to operate even if you've lost your normal internet connection. The system will automatically kick in, and the restaurant probably won't even know they have a problem. Once the internet is restored, then the cell phone situation turns itself off, but goes back to normal operations with the internet. So for credit card processing, we would say that you probably need to get a cell-enabled device somewhere in the network. Let's talk about security. Login is secured through a password, and that password is set by the user, and that user then can change those passwords from time to time, but to keep that secure. Logins are secured as also with the multiple security access levels. So you have the owner, and they will have full access, and then people below them will have different accesses based upon what their needs are. It's a need to know or need to access type situation. Multiple access levels are granted. Users must be invited and accept that invitation in order to have access. Now, this is a little different from just giving somebody a password and letting them free for all. We don't do that. We literally have to invite a user to the database, and they must accept that and then create their own password. It's more secure than just handing out the username and password to everybody and anybody. That's not how we do it. We do it by individual, by email. As far as remote support goes, there's no need to remote in. Remote in is something that is done on a Windows platform. We get this quite often is people transitioning from a Windows application to the cloud. They want to know how do you remote in, or how do you do remote tech support? Well, remoting in uses a third-party software, and that does create a PCI security problem. So we've eliminated that by eliminating the need to log in or remote in to the local system. Remember now, we don't have the back office at the store. It is a cloud above store. So we just access it from any browser. We just log in as a tech support from any browser. There's no PCI validation that's needed. This is just part of the cloud benefits. When we do on a rare occasion get a POS lockup. We just don't have that often. We just don't. It's very rare. But if if that is a situation, simply reboot the tablet and resets the tablet back to square one, and it's fine. It will reset itself and clear whatever problem there was. So all remote access or remote support is done via the cloud. This then allows our technicians to do telephone support through the cloud, accessing the store level and making any changes, anything that is needed at that time. Multiple stores. Each store is shown on the homepage. The homepage will list the stores down the right-hand side. I'll show you that here in a few minutes. Each store is shown there with secure login for each store, which means that even though you may have multiple stores, some users are restricted just to their store. So maybe a manager needs to access their store, but is not given access to the other stores in the chain, whereas the owner can then also have access to all stores, and that then he can then invite other users if they have regional managers or people who need access to multiple stores. The owner can then invite those people to have that access and then grant them that access. But users are restricted to the store. Owners have access to all stores. And then new stores are easily created by just taking the database for the most similar store, copying that into the new store. All the items come over, all the prices come over. The employees do not transfer over because they're not going to have the same employees at one store as they do at the other. But it makes it within seconds. You now created a new store. So simple. Reports, employees, and inventory then are at the store level. That is, they are kept at that store level, with gift and loyalty being multiple stores. So there's the differentiation. So while employees and inventory are restricted or limited to that one store, gift and loyalty can be then bundled and grouped so they can be then utilized at all stores. Reports, they are exported or can be exported to Excel. So this gives you, as the partner, the ability, if you're an Excel guru, you can make up your own Excel spreadsheets to give them custom reporting using Excel. If you are using Excel, you can also do multiple store reporting, in that you can import reports from the different locations, group them together in one report. If they require more reporting, you can go to chain level reporting, which is I'm showing the differentiation. So you can have multiple store reporting through Excel, but if you want true chain level reporting, then go to a third party in our app store, and you can find several different packages there that will allow you to have that true chain reporting with analysis and comparison. So, got any questions before I move into the actual live demonstration? Down the right hand side, these are the different stores that you will have. So you pick the store that you're going to be working on. Then that gives you complete access. And now I'm going to show you what I show to a customer, to a prospect. I'll talk about, this is the dashboard that pops up. It's going to give you your top selling items and your top 10 workers as far as amount of hours and money that's being spent on those employees. Kind of a snapshot, if you will, of the sales. And here's the legend here to the right by color, showing you the graph. Down the left is your categories. Now, analytics, that's reporting. Marketing is the customer files. Products, that's where you would change the prices or add new items. staff, obviously as employees. Then you get into things like settings where most of the time they're not going to get it. The end user, the customer is not going to get in settings. That's something that where you set it up initially and then you just don't have to worry about it again. App market is where we have the different third-party applications. If the customer is wanting that chain reporting, they're going to go here. Platform orders, or if they are using the third-party deliveries, DoorDash, Uber Eats, those type things, those are the orders there. Merchant portal, that obviously credit card, Mesa Online and Mesa Rewards. That reward area is where you also do gift cards, so you set that up. That's the overview of the left column. I don't get into each one of those because some of those are just not something that a end user will use on a normal regular basis. I do show analytics. So under the analytics tab, you have the subs there for sales, performance. That is performance is where you put your extra item reports, labor, financials, inventory, customer audits, and list. I'm going to start off with sales. And what I do is I talk about this black bar here. This is your drop down for the length of report or time report, how much history you want. I always choose to go last month. And I'm showing this from the standpoint of I want them to see that there are options for historical reports. But for me, I do it because it gets me more data. Because I'm not using this every day, this demo every day. So there's not always sales in there. But if I choose for the last month, last 30 days, I'm going to have some data. So that's why I do that. Once you get into this, you start seeing the different reports. Each of the reports has pretty much the same format. You're going to have a circular type of graph that is colorized. You have the green button at the top. This is where you have your exports. If you wish to see the data that is used to make up this, click on it. Once you click on it, you then see the individual report and the individual numbers that made up that data. Of course, this is printable and it'll print and look just like it does here. You should scroll through, show the different reports that are here. And you also, as a salesperson, should get very familiar with what these reports contain. You'll get questions about, do I have a report such as X, Y, and Z? And you should be able to have those. You should know where those are. So sales by group, by item. This is the group, is the menu group. So this particular one is steaks. It shows all the different numbers that went into that. Appetizers, entrees, soup, and salad. Get comfortable with these numbers and where you can find these reports, because these are going to be something that should be shown to every customer. Labor does have the labor forecast schedules, store-wide work schedules, all these different reports that go into the system. Labor schedules obviously won't have anything unless they're using the scheduler. We highly recommend that they use the scheduler. Missing lunch and breaks, this allows the management to go back in and adjust those breaks and those missed punches. Under the financials, you will get into your end-of-day reports, cashier reports, summaries, those things. Now, this does have the ability to drill down even further. Well, some of these reports do have hyperlinks that allow you to have drill down ability. to the point where you can actually see the reports for the cashiers in this case, or even down to the actual transactions and see the receipts there. Some of my favorite reports are in the audit area. These are exception reports. There's a method of management called management by exception, that you look for things that are out of the norm. And these reports, a lot of these are out of the norm. What's different? So you do have void activities, transfers, no sale activities is can be a big one if you're having a theft problem. Another one, a good one, is high tip warnings. The system will allow the report here to show any tips that are in excess of, and then you can set the percentage. If you have somebody who's not ringing up sales, such as in the bartender area where they ring up one beer and then serve the rest of it without ringing them up, you'll notice that they're doing that for the possibility of getting a higher tip. So the system will report a high tip, and then an investigation should be launched to find out why that person's getting such a high tip. I've seen where they bring up a beer. So it was a $5 beer, but they had a $50 tip. Okay, something's wrong with that, right? This report would catch that. Get comfortable with these reports so that you can understand and answer the questions very fast about those, and then show the reports that are key for helping manage that operation. Under the products area, this is where you would set up your pizza setup, matrix setup, and then items. So the items here, these are the ones down the left-hand column on the POS. These are usually broken out like they are on the menu. And then the individual items are here. I don't get into too much here. I just make sure that they understand we have a very good item description, an alternate name that can be printed in the kitchen, and then pricing at the bottom. If they want to do an individual price here, they can. I do show here where you have the multiple printers, multiple kitchen displays, and then we have up to 5 different prices that you can have in the system for dine-in, by destination, by type of order. So the bar price can be different, the to-go price is different, and delivery price is different. So we have all those different pricings that can be set up in the system that are forced and automatic. So that's what I show when I show the back office. This is something you need to do every time. Don't skip it. Get comfortable with it, because I have seen people that were more interested in the back office than they were the front of house. They were more interested in how they could control their restaurant from that back office. There we go, from the above store, so that then they were the point of sale. All right, any questions there?
No, it's real straightforward. In fact, it's super helpful too, because we've caught a lot of people from this place ripping them off like crazy. Discounts. One girl had 15 first responder discounts. The other girl had 19. And in their shift, and that was an 8-hour shift. So you're talking half of the businesses, half of the volume of the business for that day was given a 10% discount. And so I've got a really nice database that we can plug in a lot of these things to show them what happens. And so we basically take what the total profit of the restaurant is at the end of the month. What is the total? What are their average total profits at the end of the month? And maybe it's somewhere around $3,000 after all of the bills have been paid. And then let's just say that they had 3,000 customers. Well, the profit off of each customer is really $1. If you think of it that way, you got 3,000 customers, you got $3,000 at the end of the year. You've got $1 per profit. So that 10% on a $80 ticket, is $8. That's like giving the profits away for eight, for 8 of those. So I mean, when we plug it in and we show it to them, they go, "Oh my God, that is crazy. We're putting a stop to that right now." So they were, of course, doing it for a larger tip. Like, "Oh, we'll give you the locals discount," and it's called
Right.
EMS. Anyways, we caught them doing that. The other one was the high tip orders. I mean, one girl was had a tips of 34.9%. Well, she was one of the ones that had so many of these discounts as well, but she was also doing an extra 20% gratuity. So nobody was aware of. And I looked at it and I go, how are they doing that? I had to call Aldelo to figure out how they were actually adding the extra 20%, and they showed it to me real easy. And I was like, man. So when I took that to them too, and showed them that, hey, are you guys happy with that? Is that something you want to do? And they're like, no, we didn't know that she was doing. No wonder her tips are so high. So she's adding 20%, and then the customers don't know it. And even though it's on the receipt, but you're not expecting it, you don't know it, so they just sign it.
The
Maybe when
customer
they
doesn't
leave,
really realize it. They don't scrutinize it that much.
right. And she would ask, "You guys need your receipt?" "Oh, no, we don't need a receipt." So a lot of times they never even got the receipt back. Where they could go the next day and look at it and go, "That was kind of high for 4 of us." But anyways, so she was, half of her tips were coming from an extra 20%. So anyways, we nixed that as well. So a lot of great stuff in this back office to be able to show what products, and just even, showing them that if you went up 25% or 25 cents on the bacon, I took your 25% or 25 cent, and you went up 20, and that's your highest, item right there. So instead of $1, if you went up to $1.25 for an extra piece of bacon, then I mean, look what you're going to make, an extra $50 a day. That's going to be, you take 30 days, $50 a day. That's an extra $1,500 a month for your business, and that
Those add
fixes a
up.
lot of those add up. Yeah, all this stuff adds up. And it's every little thing. I mean, just every little thing that we can find. Will add up and make a big difference, because we want them to stay in business. We want them to be happy, because that's how we make money. Is the longer they can stay in business, the better off for all
When
of
you
us.
start doing the delivery, and if they start doing third-party apps, those things start adding up as well, because those guys charge up to 30% more. So you need to have a delivery price, and you need to we have another field that allows them to have a price set for those third-party apps that allow them
Right.
to recover some of those expenses that those guys charge. It's
Yeah.
it's astronomical, but customers seem to be paying it. Okay, well, the restaurant needs to recover some of that, so they need to up their price to compensate for those excessive fees.
I totally agree with you. The super incredible value with the Delaware. I absolutely love it. I want all of my guys just selling this system because of the value that it brings without the software fees.
But if they're doing a SaaS on a $50,000 a month restaurant, a penny and 5 basis points pays for the SaaS. So if you wanted to include the SaaS and give the processing, I'm sorry, give away the POS, include it with the processing, then it's a penny and 5 basis points will pay for that terminal. It's a no-brainer. You can charge more because you're giving more value.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to give this away. There's POS, there's profits in the POS. That was something that came up again last week at the Midwest show. Is I keep getting ISO agents. I'll just give away the software. the POS. Why? Why would you do that? It has value. It has substance to it. You don't have to give it away. And they kind of looked at me weird. Well, I'm telling you, used to have to fight this with the POS guys. People who are only POS. They would go, I'll just give the processing to somebody else. Dude, no, slow down. People, the POS guys were giving away the processing. The processing guys are trying to give away the point of sale. No, they both have value and they need to be sold as a solution.
Right.
There's money on both sides of this thing. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
No, don't give away either. They both have value.